This is Needy and Normal. Welcome. I'm your host, Ashley Levering, mom, wife, and life coach. After years of coaching and learning from my own life, one thing is clear. Meeting your needs is essential for living your best life. Here, we'll talk about your needs and not only learn to accept them, but also tend to them without guilt. Let's get needy because it's normal. Welcome back to Needy and Normal. I'm glad you pushed play today for so many reasons. One, good for you, honestly. I love that you saw the title of this podcast and thought, yeah, I'm going to give that a listen and see how it feels. So I really hope you get what you need out of today's episode about the comeback to yourself, because that's what this episode is about. So whether you feel lost and confused about what's next in your life, or whether you feel an identity crisis, like who am I, what am I doing, or you're so caught in the everyday, going with the flow, going through the motions that you're not quite sure where you are anymore in your life. If you're just feeling like, what am I doing? Who am I, and how am I supposed to come back to myself? Can I do that? What do I need? If you're really starting to question these things, that's one of the hardest things to do. So you're already doing something wonderful for yourself by coming to this point of, okay, I know something isn't quite right. What do I do now? What's next? What's first? It feels like a lot, and that's fair. And that's part of being a human. I firmly believe we are meant to go through these moments in life where we stray from who we are so we can learn who we are, so we can come back to ourselves. And honestly, when we stray, we really clarify we can truly clarify who we are better. Because I've talked about in past episodes that when we figure out what's not working, we can then figure out what is. When we figure out what we don't like, or what we don't actually need, or what we don't want anymore, when we know the stuff that isn't for us, it's easier eventually to figure out what is. I'm also grateful you're here because I need you. The Needy and Normal podcast is growing in listenership, and you are making that happen. Thank you so much. I hope you follow the show. I hope you come back every week or pick your favorite episode, share it with a friend, whatever it may be. And if you have been interested in coaching with me, go check out ablifecoaching.com. I do free consultations. So if you're curious and just want to pick my brain and tell me what's happening in life, we'll see if we're a good fit. I'll tell you what I can do for you. I'll tell you if I feel a connection to what you're facing, and you tell me how it feels to talk to me, and if it's comfortable and it feels like we can partner together, then we shall, and we shall do great things together. Because here's one of the greatest revelations of this needing to come back to yourself moments in time. You don't have to do it alone. So whether it's a coach, a grandma, a mentor, a best friend, a sibling, a father, a mother, whoever is your person, that's allowed. And I think a lot of times when we stray from ourselves, it's because we think we have to do it alone. We think we have to figure everything out. We think we have to go through the motions and check all the boxes. That's on us, right? And while that's commendable and that's great, we want to be self-motivated and hardworking and do the things we need to do and show up for our responsibilities. One of our greatest responsibilities is ourselves. I talked about burnout in the last episode and noticing when it's coming and learning some simple tools to get after it if it's already arrived, and how to, potentially avoid it in the future. Because when we do get stuck in those ruts of going through life every day, it's hard to pause sometimes just to notice, okay, how am I? What am I doing? Am I okay? What's not feeling right? What's feeling super great that I want to do more of? Who was that person I really connected with? It really comes down to asking lots of questions of ourselves. And my favorite question is, what do I need? And often the way to our needs is to figure out what we want. So this episode is really focused on your wants and are you ignoring them? So I'm going to ask a lot of questions. I'm going to offer some tools. And hopefully by the end of this, you will have a little clarity, at least with what's the first next step. And I say that on purpose, the first next step. There could be lots of next steps, but what's the first one? And what would feel helpful? And what can you actually attain and do right now that doesn't feel overwhelming? I've mentioned it before. A lot of times I'll ask my clients to choose 3 daily new goals or habits or promises to self, which is my favorite way to explain it. And the point of that exercise, that daily habit exercise, is to create something easy and attainable for yourself so you get used to the feeling of being in achieve mode for yourself. Here we are, thinking about the comeback. Imagine that a dear friend needs you, and you easily show up with love and readiness to help. You come through for them, lending an ear, running errands for them, comforting them, whatever they need. You're there. You help them process whatever they're going through. You stay loyally by their side, reassuring them that you have their back. Imagine how grateful they would be and how much better they'll feel knowing you're there for them. Stronger, ready to take on whatever's next because you came to their side to look out for them. Imagine that. You probably have done this for someone, maybe recently, maybe a long time ago. So you may not have to imagine this in a creative way. You may remember doing this for somebody, right? Now, the way they got through that was because of you, right? They had what they needed. They had someone to lean on. They didn't feel alone. What a wonderful thing you can do for that person. Without question. Now, imagine you are that dear friend, knowing you have exactly the right skills to console, help process, comfort, and help and support. You have all the tools and abilities to pour that kind of love and support and loyalty back into yourself. If you so generously give to others the way I've explained it, it's your turn now. It's your turn now. Instead of imagining that it's you helping this friend out, I would love to challenge you to recognize it as a knowing that you have this ability, that not only you can, but you will do that for yourself. It's your turn now. Coming back to yourself, what do you want? Sometimes it's really hard and tricky to figure out, what do I need? I don't know what I need. I don't know what I need to do. That can be kind of overwhelming. I recognize that. Even though that's my greatest question in my work, what do you need and how do you get what you need? How do you do what you need to do? Sometimes you need to start with the want. I'm going to ask you some questions. What do you want out of life? For breakfast? From that person you're dating? From your husband? From your kids? From yourself? From your job? What do you want? What's been missing? Where's your focus? Where's it been? Is it finally time for you? Are you a mom? Are you finally retired? Are you thinking about retirement? Are you ready to just feel better about yourself and your body? Whatever it is. Maybe that uncomfortable urge to look at it, whatever it is right in time. I've talked about the push or the shitstorm where a lot of change happens at once, and it forces us often to really actually look at our lives. Who are you these days? How do you show up for yourself and for others? What is really important to you? What is something that really matters to you? Think about your values. Think about your beliefs. Think about the stuff that perks up your attention when you hear about it. When someone's mentioning something or teaching something or talking about something, like what grabs your attention? What direction are you currently heading in? Where are you going? Do you like that direction? I know a lot of these questions can feel pretty overwhelming, but often it's because we don't let ourselves pause and be still and really think about them. This is often what's happening when people come to me. They're experiencing all these questions, all these unanswered questions about identity and self and what am I doing with my life, right? And often the back of my mind, which I eventually bring forth, is I think, oh, you have the answers. They're in you. But we get so stuck in the routines and the shoulds and the have tos and the responsibilities to others that sometimes we just stop listening to ourselves. And we stop paying attention to the cues that are trying to wake us up and say, hey, alignment is for everyone. Alignment is for you. Alignment means you feel like you're connected to yourself and to the life you're living at the same time. No, it's not always perfect. No, it doesn't always happen at once, and it doesn't always stay consistent. We're meant to grow and change and learn. That's human. But maybe you're just in that place right now where a comeback to yourself sounds really good. And maybe you want it so badly. But more than that, deeper than that, you really, really need it. Let's honor that, right? Let's take a moment to think, okay, things have been feeling a lot. It's been stressful. It's been overwhelming. I'm not even sure if this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. Let's just recognize that that's a really brave place to come and sit with ourselves, even for just a moment. The last episode, I talk about our higher self. I try to tap in and listen to my higher self. This is one of those moments where your higher self is saying, come back to me. Come back to me. When you're ready for a change, the first sign is that you're noticing it, that you're paying attention to something, even if it's something small, even if it's something giant, and you're just, oh, what am I doing? I'm ready for something. Or like I said, the first thing is that you notice it. You realize it's there, or you realize it's happening. You recognize whatever the experience is that you're having. It's a knowing that it's time for something. And often it's a time to feel like I don't want to be alone in this. Even with family and friends and coworkers around, sometimes it's hard to admit that we need someone, to lean on someone, to ask for help, to admit that things are hard, maybe too hard to do it alone or at all. And we do need a push. And if you're like me and you've been very independent and feel like or believe that you prefer to do things on your own, that doesn't always have to be that way. And you can still be independent and thrive as an independent person, a high achiever, and realize that there's some things you don't want to do by yourself. So how do we do this? How do we start? How do you come back to yourself? There's something I teach. Let's start with a tool here. It's basically a map. I call these the 6 pillars of life. And if you check in with these 6 pillars, you can kind of figure out where are you in each one. I've done a whole episode on this, so I'll make this brief. There's 6 of these. I'm going to just run through them. Self-care habits. Check in. How is your self-care? And that's not just, sleeping and getting a massage. It can be whatever you need for your mind too. 2 is relationships, family, romantic, friends, work, all of the relationships, check in. 3 is career and financial security. 4 is connection and belonging, having that sense of community. 5 is your purpose and alignment in what you're doing, not just in career, but in life. And then 6 is your mental outlook and resiliency. These are your mindset skills. Okay. So those are the 6 pillars that I kind of base my business on and how I help people move through these changes that they face. Because I'm a transition coach, if you don't already know. So when people come to me feeling like, what am I doing? I don't know what's happening. Often, sometimes organically or very much on purpose, I will go through these 6 pillars. And a lot of times it is 1 and 6 that needs the most attention. So your self-care habits first, because you are in control of that. And number 6, mental outlook, your resiliency and your mindset skills, which also you are in control of. See what I'm doing there? When we check in with the things we can control first, we can usually find the first next step. Most importantly, taking care of you typically will get you on the right page of your book. Because when you're taking care of yourself, your mental clarity is there. You have a moment to breathe and really have conversations with yourself and really make decisions based on speaking and listening with yourself, to yourself. Checking in on how you treat yourself matters. And this is also mentally and verbally. Are you hard on yourself? Are you unkind to yourself? Are you talking down to yourself? Are you putting more pressure on yourself than you need to? Check in on matching your skills with your passions too. Do you have these incredible skills, these incredible talents that you are passionate about and make use of? Or do you have these incredible skills that are just sitting in the back and come up sometimes in a story on a date or at dinner or with family and friends or whatever and be like, oh my gosh, yeah, I used to paint. Yeah, I used to love it. Or yeah, I used to work on cars. That was cool. I don't know if I'll ever do that again. Think about the things that you love or used to love. Are those just sitting in your memory bank, or do they need to come forth again somehow? Like, check in. Are my skills and my passions matching up? Is what I'm actually doing making me feel connected to myself and the things that matter to me as far as skills and passions? Okay. And here's the other thing. I kind of mentioned this already, but forgive yourself right away. If you're in that first phase of noticing that the comeback needs to happen, that is such good work already. Awareness is so powerful. And I've shared this formula before. Awareness plus action equals change or growth. So if you start with awareness, your next steps are action. You've already done the first step. So forgive yourself for not focusing so much on yourself and your identity and getting to the place that you're at. If you're really having this crossroads moment, like, just forgive yourself. Just give yourself a break. Be like, listen, we've been through some stuff. Life has been happening. We've been experiencing all kinds of things. And no, it may not have gone exactly the way I planned when I was 16 or whatever, just graduated college. No, that's okay. Like I said, we're supposed to live and learn and change and adapt and figure out things and grow as we go as a human being. So forgive yourself right now. Do not put negative nastiness back into your heart and in your head because you're worried about wasting time and being mad at yourself for getting to this point. Nope, no need for that. You're already identifying something. You're already bringing your awareness to something that can help you move forward. So praise yourself instead. Ooh, that feels better, doesn't it? Good for me for figuring out I got to deal with something. I got to refocus. I got to learn who I'm supposed to be or what moves I'm supposed to make. Good for me for figuring out that I'm something's happening. Something is uncomfortably urging me to notice. It happens. So no need to blame yourself or be hard on yourself, especially if you are truly recognizing that you've separated from yourself. Something's not right. That's brave. But maybe this is also your chance to make a decision. No more just going through the motions. No more suffering through whatever is happening without being fully aware of what your mind and body are actually doing and being okay with it. Think about that friend that you've helped out before. You showed up at the doorstep or they You called them, you sent them something, you listened to them, whatever you did to help them through it. Think about how much love and loyalty you showed them. And recognize that that is a skill you have to give right back to yourself. So let's go into action now. You're aware that something's off. You're aware that you've separated from yourself a bit or a lot. What is one thing you can do today to reconnect with yourself? Now think of something you can add next week. And what's one thing you can focus on next month? What's at the heart of those wants and needs? Remember, in the beginning of this episode, I talk about what matters to you. What is really important to you? So think of one thing today, then think of something to add next week, and one more thing to focus on next month. Those are 3 things. And maybe it's one thing that you progressively get better at based on your wants for yourself in your life, based on your needs, so you can come back to yourself and connect with love and comfort and help with life logistics and a deeper look at your career if that's what you need. Surrounding yourself with people that care about you. Think about the things you can do right now. I give this assignment a lot. Maybe it's just sitting down and writing a letter to yourself right now. Hey, self, where are we at? Let's think about where we're at. Or maybe it's yourself from 5 years from now saying, hey, listen, you remember that time we were at? Or, hey, I know where you are right now, but in 5 years, this is where we're going. This is where you'll be. This is what we did for ourselves. You already have skills to pour into others. Make use of those skills to pour into yourself, to reconnect with yourself, to love yourself, to hug yourself, to come back to who you are and connect again with what really matters to you. And if you need help, that's okay. You're still a badass, I promise. And I would tell you that all day long if the help you need is from someone like me. Your needs matter because you matter. I hope you take this episode with you in heart and put some action to that awareness and find you again, because you're amazing and you deserve to be thriving. Happiness comes and goes. It's also a choice. But thriving and connecting to who you are and what you're about and what matters to you is important. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up for yourself. Give yourself a hug, like really actually, like wrap your arms around yourself, give yourself a hug and say, we got this. I got you. I got you. Okay. Take care and come back next week. The Needy and Normal podcast is brought to you by ABL Life Coaching. Visit ablifecoaching.com to explore what life coaching with a transition coach is like and schedule your own free consultation. Thank you so much for listening today. If you liked this episode, please share it, rate it, and follow it so you don't miss an episode. And come back next week. If you're curious about coaching, visit ablifecoaching.com or find me at ABL Life Coaching on Instagram. And you can now follow Needy and Normal Pod on Instagram as well.